Karen is dancing with us back there.
I forgot you can see me.
I could see you. Now we can all see you. But anyway, I want to welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Let us know in the comments below where you are located and actually what you might be drinking. I am here. I'm Denise Mirtha Bachman. I'm here in Houston, Texas, and I'm on my third espresso this morning. So, yeah, coffee with Denise might be a bit interesting this morning. But enough about me. Karen, why don't you just say hello and let us know where you are? And are you drinking anything in particular?
Yes, I am. So
Frozen,
I,
Karen? Uh-oh, we might have some technical difficulty.
you just
Well,
froze.
as we are waiting for her to come back, for
Can you hear
whatever
me?
reason, we just saw her dancing, which I'm super excited that she's here today. So those of you that don't are here for the very first time, oh, it's me that's frozen.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do while she's unfreezing herself is I will begin to talk. I am currently in Oregon. I'm actually living a bit of a nomadic life for a year. I will be back in North Carolina by the end of the year. But I am currently drinking out of my cup right here. I am drinking a new tea, and it is Stash, and it is the Paris black tea. I've never had Paris before until my last. One of the things that I'm doing is I'm doing a house sit, and I'm doing something called Trusted House Sitter. So I'm traveling across the country as I'm meeting new people and staying with pets and doing all sorts of things as part of my nomadic journey. And each place I've actually gotten a new, different kind of cup of tea. So that I also had jasmine tea at another one. I Egyptian licorice tea. I don't know if you guys have had that, but all those I recommend, and those are all Stash. So I love that brand as well. So Denise seems to have gone missing. And so I guess one of the things that I will tell you while we wait for her is just in the pre-show notes, what we were talking about is she had asked me if I'd done any lives. And I really haven't. So this is all pretty new to me. I've done Zooms, but not the actual live. And the fact that I can't see your comments, the fact that I don't know what's on there is obviously a little bit nerve-wracking. But when she contacted me a couple months ago and I said that I'm really ready to launch my brand and what I'm doing, she said, I really would love to have you on my coffee show. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start doing lives. Both of us are part of a coaching program with Chris Colt, and that's one of the things he really encourages us to do. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up LinkedIn right now for this show to see if I can also see any comments here. Um, events. So let me see. Here we go. All right. So in the comments, um, here we go. Um, all right. So uh I hope you guys are all having a great day. I see that we have some people from different parts of the world as well. I see that we have Melbourne, Australia represented. That is amazing. Hello, Dean. Welcome to the show. And we have somebody else he didn't mention where he was at. So let me come back onto the StreamYard and see if Denise is back. And she is not. So I guess I'll just introduce myself now formally. My name is Karen Oeser. I'm also known as the Blessing Finder. I'm a trauma release therapist or coach. And what I do is I work with professional Christian women in their 40s and 50s who struggle with anxiety and overwhelm, chronic health issues, and lack of purpose. And what I help them do is find clarity, hearing clarity and purpose, and also God's voice. because that is something that is so important to me. And I have a program called Awaken Your Heart. And what's really important, one of the things that she talked about in the show notes is that this should be talking a little bit about the God winks. And I have a YouTube channel called at Daily God Winks, and also on both LinkedIn and Facebook. I I post daily a God wink. So, what is a God wink? Well, a God wink is something so many people I talk about, I'm always saying, you have a conversation with God. God told me to do this, or God told me to do that. And people are always saying, how do you hear from God? And it's not like he audibly says and gives me a detailed memo or writes it in the sky with great clarity. It actually is the little things that you just know. He lets us know that he's in the details. Like, for example, if you're really feeling down, and all of a sudden your favorite song comes on and on the radio, and it's like, "Ah, that's exactly what I needed." That's one of the ways that I call that a God wink, because it was the perfect thing in the perfect moment. Nature does that to us a lot. You had a really, really bad day, and then you get in your car and you see this most amazing sunset. And you're just like, wow, that is amazing. You get awestruck by God and you say, thank you, God. And that also puts you then in a spirit of gratitude, because you're looking outside of yourself as well. Because a lot of times when we're having really, really bad days, we're stuck in our heads with our negative self talk. And then it actually makes us go and look for some other ways that God will be out there. Another thing that I like is he answers prayers that we didn't know we had until we heard them. That's a real good one, because like you'll be at a conference or something, and somebody will say something on stage, and you realize in the back of your mind, in your subconscious, you've been praying about that, and maybe you forgot about it for years, and all of a sudden you hear it. And that's all very exciting as well. And so that's what I do. And what's interesting is there's somebody named Bernie DeSantis, and he does something called mustache moments. And so just a little over 2 months ago, he and I were doing a virtual coffee, and he had just launched it like about a week prior to that. And again, his coach, we had a similar, this is in a different program. We had a similar coach who was also encouraging us to do more lives and to do more real-time videos. And he was saying that's what he could do because he had a mustache. And so I was thinking, well, what can I do? What can I do that's something that wouldn't take too much of my time, that would be really a way for people to get to know me? And that's when I heard God winks. So, because every day I usually call at least one person, or send a text to somebody, or put something in the chat as a way that God winked to me. So it's like that's something that I'm doing already. And so that's what I started doing. And within 3 weeks, I had over 2,000 subscribers. And so I think that's something that people are so hungry for positive in this negative world that we're in right now. And I wanted to be a voice of something positive, and especially with a lot of people right now, especially in the faith community, they're pretty negative out there. And I wanted to be an antidote, because we're supposed to be living in a spirit of gratitude. And when we're always talking about what you did wrong and da 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 da, and God's going to hammer us because you're not being obedient and da 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 da, there is so much out there. That airspace is taken. But that is not, that is not what keeps you in a spirit of gratitude. That's what keeps you in a spirit of fear. And so that is about, that is what my God winks are all about. And I am also going to check with Denise super quickly to see what's going on with her. So bear with me one second. Orlando. Okay, I just got onto the LinkedIn. Orlando, hello. Thank you, Sincera. And and if there's anything, I've been kind of rambling a bit because part of it was because I was waiting for Denise, but also I just gave you guys a little window into a little bit of what makes me tick. And if this is coffee time, if there's anything that you guys want to share with us or you have any questions, put it in the chat because I'm now looking at the chat. I figure out how to do it and stay on screen with that because I put it on my phone. So again, this is live. I'm learning how I could not think. Oh, there she is. Okay. This says I need to let her in. So I we just may have to restart this. Um
Are we live again?
Now it says, well, it says 17 minutes, so apparently we're back on.
So can everyone see us? So if you guys are out there and you can see us and hear us, will you please let us know? If you guys are out there and you it's showing.
Yeah,
So
we
I
are.
just
We're on. I just checked. I figured out how to get comments. So as I was on there earlier, I was telling everybody that I was actually learning this whole system of going live in real time. So,
I know I heard everything. I was on backstage the entire time.
oh, you were okay.
Yes, yes. So I was screaming into the phone, Karen, look, just look. And I couldn't get you to
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is because I hadn't been made host, so I couldn't let you in.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Well, there we go. We're back at it. So what we'll do is we'll kind of kick us off here so that for anyone who is still joining us, just bear with us for a brief moment because I would like for Karen to be able to have something that she can leverage going forward because I try to give these videos out, these sessions out to each of the guests. So we're going to kick this briefly off just for the sake of you, Karen, and then that way we can, and so I'll have to try to clean up the video too. So I
All right.
apologize.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. And that way, the goal would be to try to get this to get us to re-show this again. So I'll work on that. But in the meantime, I want to welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm here in Houston, Texas. Denise Mirtha Bachman. We're here with Coffee with Denise. We've got Karen here. Karen, why don't you share with us where you are?
I am currently in Salem, Oregon.
Awesome. Well, I know she's currently in Salem, Oregon, but that's not where she has
Right.
been living, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I moved out to Oregon about a from South Carolina to Oregon about a year ago. And my son graduates from Clemson in December. And so I'm doing the nomadic life because I've traveled all around the world, but I never really got to know my own country. So I'm doing something called Trusted House Sitters, and I'm just meandering my way across the country. Denver is my next stop in July. And so that's where I'm hailing. So I've been in Portland, I've been in Vancouver, I've been on the coast. And I was out helping my mom for a little while because she was having some health issues. I got them into assisted living, and here I am.
Awesome. Well, we are excited that you're here. I've been to Seattle and to Portland, but it's been a very long time ago. So I'm going to have to live vicariously through you. You'll have to send pictures as you go exploring and can share photos with us.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, awesome. Well, for those of you who've been sticking with us, Talila, thank you for being out there. Those that have been sticking out, the ones that I didn't get to engage with who were here at the start, thank you for joining us. If you're on Team Live or Team Replay, let us know as you're watching. Karen did a great job of trying to keep you guys entertained and engaged and really tried as I was trying to get back in. I don't really know what transpired, except that we've had some really bad weather here in Houston. So if you've been watching the news, we have flooding in the Houston area right now. And so my internet just died on me, and I did go back in on the phone, but on the phone app, you can only enter as a guest. And poor Karen did not have host rights, so she couldn't allow me upstage. And I was screaming into my phone, I'm here, Karen, I'm here. Like I could see her. I was on the backstage and I couldn't get in. So we are excited. For those of you that don't know and you're maybe tuning in for the first time, my platform, the things I talk about are all things sales, AI, and humanity. And really, this is the humanity arm of my platform, in which we talk about, or we get introduced to some really amazing people that I know that I can actually call my friends, of whom I want to share all the things that they are doing and share a little bit about them, because I do think with all this noise and chaos, and look, I'm a huge AI and technology advocate, but with all this news and chaos, there has to be some humanity really injected back into all that we do. So I'm super excited that Karen is here. And look, Talilo's like, sorry to hear about the internet problems. Sounds super frustrating. It was. But I'm super excited that Karen is here. I know, Karen, you already did a little bit of an introduction as to who you are, but maybe you could do that quickly again for us and let us know a little bit about yourself. We already know that you're a nomad right now and living this lifestyle that I think we're all pretty envious of, and you're in Seattle, but give us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those who weren't here earlier, my name is Karen Oeser, and I always say that because people have a hard time pronouncing it. And I'm a blessing finder and a trauma release coach. And a lot of what we'll be talking about today is the blessing finder aspect of what I do. And the blessing finder, because what I do is I like to help people find God's voice and find God in everything. And so that's also one of the key ways that I help my clients. And so, what I help them do is I specifically work with women in their 40s and 50s who struggle with chronic health issues, struggles with anxiety and overwhelm and lack of purpose. And I have a 12-month program called Awaken Your Heart. And what I help you do is I help you find clarity, purpose, and God's voice using lots of different tools. And help, my objective is I want every woman to know what she is called to do, and for her mind, body, and spirit to come in alignment with that. And to know with, yes, with confidence, this is who I am, and I'm ready to go out there in the world and not live for who other people say I am, but who God created me to be.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to share. I always share how I meet all of those that join us in on for these types of conversations. And Karen and I met. We actually belong to a couple of different groups together. So we have been in a community or a couple of different communities, but one in particular we've been in together for quite some time. What intrigued me about Karen, the very first time I actually met her was in where was it, in Dallas, I think. She was doing a it was with the Success Champion Network. She was doing a workshop and she was just dancing, right? If I looked around the room, so part of her talk was for us to actually get out and do movement, right? And so I was acting like this crazy fool. I'd look around and there were some people who were a little bit nervous and didn't want to show everyone their authenticity. Then there were some that were all crazy, all out, and just did whatever. And then there was me who was a little bit in between, right? But it was an
Yeah.
opportunity for me to let loose. And it was super cool. That was the first time I was really ever introduced to Karen. But as I've gotten to know her, what I love about her and what's intrigued me the most are these God winks. So maybe share with us a little bit about these God winks and why you started them, Karen.
Yeah. So what happened is, in fact, SCN, the group that we were talking about, one of the things that Donnie, who's the leader of it, really encourages you to go out and, put yourself out there and be brave and just let people get to know who you are. And so he also encourages doing a lot of virtual coffees. And so I was doing a virtual coffee with somebody named Bernie DeSantis, and he does something called Mustache Moments. And if you haven't friended him, I recommend you do it. It give yourself a treat and do that. And so we were talking, and he had just started doing his 2 weeks prior to our conversation. And so all of a sudden I thought, okay, it's time that I do something, but I'm not exactly sure what I can do. So I got off the phone and I started praying. I'm like, okay, God, what is it? Because they're always talking about also share about who you are on LinkedIn and Facebook and the different socials. And I always felt very forced. And so all of a sudden, I thanked God for something, and I don't even remember what it was, but I thanked him for something. And I think it was the birds at that time of night. They were supposed to be singing. They sang. I'm like, thank you, God. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, that was such an amazing God wink. And then I'm like, that's it, because I wanted to do something that didn't take a lot of my time, but would have high impact and let people get to know how I tick. Because people are always saying, where does your joy come from? And this is it, because looking for God in the unexpected. So it's not like, it's nice to get, it's like, okay, God was with me on that speech and it did really well. That's great. And I'm not discounting that. But it's like, and you were privately worried about maybe networking at the event later. And then the exact person, somebody like Denise comes up, like I said, and right now on live, we got a God wink because guess what? I never knew how my speech impacted her until just now. You guys got to see that live. And that's a God wink because I didn't get a ton of feedback. And so you're always wondering, self doubt, was that really meant to be? And now I know, even if it was just for her, it was totally worth it. And so that's what the God winks are about, is like those little things say, yes, I'm on the right path. And thank you for that encouragement.
I love that. And they have been inspirational, but you know that, I think, because I've been engaging a lot in your when you post your God wink. So I follow them. I live in this world where I have a relationship with Heavenly Father, but I also try to live in this world of flow where everything just comes as it's supposed to come. So even though we had this horrible experience, and horrible is a really strong word, but we had this experience where we were on stage together and then it just died, for me at least, and we had to restart, right? I mean, there's a reason or a lesson or something to be learned from that, and I truly believe in that. So I believe in the God winks. I think they're super valuable. And so it inspires me to read your God winks and to remind myself when these little micro moments come up, there's a reason why they're there, right? We're learning
Absolutely.
from it. We are gaining experience. We are, there's something about it that is supposed to occur. Otherwise, they wouldn't actually happen.
Well, I mean, and just like, the technology fiasco, whatever, however you want to describe it, happened. And I was just thinking here, and I'm like, God, you're a funny one, because after this, it's like, okay, you have a smooth one, and I've already been prepared. I mean, I didn't know how to get on StreamYard. I didn't know how to get the comments. And also, what you don't know is Taya, who's on here, who's continues to comment. What you don't know is we connected just before we started, and she's still here. And what encouragement that is, because she was curious about the God winks, and that's one of the reasons that she wanted to come and learn more about that. And so, yet that was another God wink, is to say, yes, you're going along the same path, and to stay steady and not get in your head about, um, I'm not worthy, this isn't worth it.
I agree. And sometimes our self-talk is worse than what it actually really is. And so if we can remember that there are things such as God winks, that there are that we can be in flow so things can happen, and that even these small micro moments are an opportunity for us to learn, or there's a reason behind each of them that it makes life a little bit easier. So let's talk quickly about maybe self-talk, right? Because in order for you to get to this place where you can actually see these God winks, you have to be in a space that allows for that, don't you think, Karen?
100%. Yeah.
And how have, over your journey, how did you get to that point? Maybe can you give me a suggestion or a tip or something that might help someone who's watching who isn't in that space, that could recognize or even see those God winks?
Yeah, well, again, it's part of the spirit of gratitude, because people say have gratitude. It's like, yeah, let's have world peace too, right? It's like just a throwaway. And so everything that I do is I try to show people let me give you an example, because we learn by observing, we learn through case studies. And so part of what I did, and that's also part of, the work that I do with being a trauma release coach, is there's something I call the bar right here. And so we're mind, body, and spirit, regardless of where you are on your spiritual journey. Mind, body, spirit is something we can all agree to. But what happens is we were all created with a specific design. And I believe our goal on earth is to come into alignment and agreement with that's who we are. And the whole world, whether you call it the world, the enemy, whatever language you want to use around it, is fighting against that. But one of the biggest enemies is ourselves, our own self talk, as you said. And so that's one of the reasons. It's part of it is so I'll just get a little nerdy for a second, and because I can't help myself. is I have something called the red zone, the green zone, and the blue zone. So the red zone is where you go, 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 go. That's when we're in our head. And back to the mind, body, and spirit. When they're out of alignment, we start looking at why are they out of alignment? Because my head says I'm one thing, my spirit says I'm another, and my body says I'm another. And like they said, know your audience, right? When you're speaking in three voices, it gets pretty confusing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so part of it is, most people know the stat that 90% of what we do is on the subconscious level. By the time it gets to our mind, there's been a whole lot of stuff going on. So part of what I like to do, a lot of the times people don't feel safe and supported enough to even dare to say, who am I? So you go to outside people, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And in fact, that's a lot of what I talked about in the presentation that you were at, is because we think so many of us grow up trying to get seen, heard, and understood by the people that we love, and they tell us what it takes to be seen, heard, and loved. And often they tell us who you're going to be, what career you're going to take. And so Dare to Dream was actually the name of that presentation. And it was like, dare to dream your own dreams. Because when you are, my example was, my dad wanted to be all, told me I couldn't do math. So I am a CFA. I went into the investment business for 30 years. Guess what? It doesn't float my boat. But I was doing it. So once I said, that isn't who I am, it really, really helped me open up. So part of what you can do is breathing it in and closing your eyes. And in fact, let's just do a little live thing here. We can do something really, really quick with everybody, super quick. What you can do is you can close your eyes. And where is that safe place for you? Where can you go and let your hair down? Go. It could be a beach or a lake, or that place where you can let your guard down. What are some of the images that come into your mind when you don't have to worry about the kids, the schedules, the technology?
Sorry, I'm struggling, Karen. I know we're supposed to be, but I want to apologize to everyone because I'm supposed to be participating in this and I can't.
So what I'm going to do, what we can do is so that everybody, I've actually recorded this, and that I will put in the comments later. I will
Thank you.
walk people through this so they can do it. But let me tell you what the objective is so you can understand. Because when we don't feel safe enough to dare to explore who we are, we can't step into it. And so what I do is helping people reset the nervous system, is I help them say, okay, I'm going to let those things go. But we don't know what we're feeling for, because a lot of people don't even know what safe and supported would feel like if they fell over it. So that's why
Mhm.
you do some of these exercises. So as soon as your nervous system can relax, that's where you can really have fun. And so that's what I was doing in that presentation that we went to. And the part she was talking about dancing is, once your nervous system calms down, then the way that we learn, the way that things stick with us, is to engage our whole selves. And that includes movement. So each one of us have a unique movement. And so that's what I was having people do in that presentation is, I'm somebody who moves a lot. I'm on the go. I'm very nimble. And so I was doing these exercises, say 1, 2, 3, go. And it's kind of like do your Manana Vogue, and to look to see how your body moves. Because you're getting acquainted with yourself, and the sillier you are, the better. When you're being silly, you're getting back into that childlike edit free zone. And so that's one of the things you can do about really engage that silliness.
Yeah, and Sincera also, if you did not see Sincera and Jody Lamb earlier today, they were on a stream as well, and he really supports as well. He's very much. If do
I
you
just see
know?
his comment there. Yep.
Yeah, do you know Sincera at all, Karen?
No, I don't, but I
You
did
guys,
see that he reached out to me in the comments, so I will be connecting
yes.
with
So
him.
you need to make sure you guys connect because he talks about as well, really finding, your mind, body, and soul, and bringing them together, not finding, but bringing them together. Right. And he's got some initiatives that he's supporting as well. But with that being said, I think that, first off, I want to recognize that we're getting close to the top of the, or getting close to the time that we need to kind of wind down. So I want to make sure that I thank everyone for having been here. But before we do anything, as far as, closing this down, and I don't know why I'm struggling, maybe because we started late, maybe because I was freaked out. It is Friday, but Karen, I want you to share with us a little bit about how some of the new things that are coming out that you have an opportunity to share with us now that you didn't have last week, or even at the beginning of the week, to share with us.
Okay, so there are two things. And one I'm going to share with you. There's this book called Come Dance with Me. And what I'm going to tell you is so exciting. Today is the official launch day. So when we scheduled this, this was official launch day. But you know what is amazing is, so we put it up on Amazon 3 days ago, didn't promote it. We were just checking the back office. It became a bestseller in 3 categories before we even pushed it. That says there is organic demand for this. And what is it? It's devotions for greater intimacy with God. So again, back to everything that I do is going back to hearing God's voice and being very comfortable and just saying, God talks to me all the time. And guess what? God talks to everybody. Doesn't even matter if you are what your faith is. You don't even have to believe in God to have him talk to you. And when you can believe he can talk to you, no matter who you think you are, that's part of where freedom is. And so that's part of what that book does. But the other thing that is happening that I wanted to announce on this show is because what's next? So I have a publishing company called Heart Songs Publishing House. And what I do is I publish books about how people hear God's voice. So that was our first book. And we have our next book that I'm announcing right now. And it is called Awaken Your Heart.
Which
Story.
I cannot show. Sorry, Karen, I can't show the image right now because I had to restart. And so it's not up, and I would cause more chaos for myself and us at this point, but we'll put that picture in the comments.
Okay, great. And so it's called Awaken Your Heart, because that's what my program does. It's Awaken Your Heart. That's about opening your whole self up. Awakening your heart is mind, body, and spirit saying, yes, I'm here. What's my purpose, and stepping into it. So it's Awaken Your Heart, stories of women courageously saying yes. And the cool thing about that is I just got the cover for it an hour and a half before this show. And so it's now we're officially announcing it on the social media on Monday, because I want to give Gretchen her due for her book over the weekend. But it would be remiss of me not to mention it on this show. And we are taking applications for that. And so it's a multi-author book. There will be 2,500 page or 2,500 word mini testimonies. And what it is these women, I just want them to share their journeys of saying yes to their design. It's all about your design. We are created with intentional design and saying yes to that. And that's what these stories are all about.
Great. Thank you so much, Karen, for sharing. And you see, Sincera has to go, but he thanks us for being
Hi,
here.
thank you for coming, and I look forward to connecting on
Yeah, we
private.
thank you for being here, even through all the technology issues that we had. So I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I will make sure that we re-show this on another episode. I'll clean it up so that we only see really the main point to this. We'll make sure that as well in the comments below that we put the cover picture, because we wanted to be able to show that. And Karen, you add whatever else you might want to. I know that you and Talila had an opportunity to connect, and I hope that you and Sincera do the same. If you did not see Sincera's show earlier today with Jody hosts a regular show. Make sure you go and check that out. It's and I'll try to find the link and put it in the comments below. But I want to thank everyone for having been here. I appreciate everyone joining us and sticking with us. For those of you that did, make sure you let us know whether you're on Team Live or Team Replay. Karen, any parting thoughts you want to leave everyone this morning?
Well, I do want, the one thing I want to tell you is that I've got a YouTube channel called @DailyGodWinks. you can go there, or on LinkedIn. I post them faithfully every day, and I will be posting them until further notice. And I have that on Facebook as well, because if you want to have a daily inspiration, I'd really encourage you to do that. And my parting words are, you were created with such intentional design. The moment you say yes to that, and all the parts of you, even those parts of you you can't stand, they're there as part of you to help you. And we didn't even get into how to talk to the parts of yourself, engage all yourself. We'll do that another time. But all of you, even the complicated parts of you, are part of your design to have you step into what you are called to do on this rock in the sky.
Thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate you being here and sticking it through with me. So I want to wish everyone a wonderful Friday. We'll be back here next Friday, as well as we have a new guest next week. Come join us for coffee. I do these live several times a week. Sales is Tuesday mornings at 9. AI is Wednesday mornings at 9, and Coffee with Denise, as it relates to all things humanity, are on Fridays at 10 a.m. I want to thank everyone again, wishing you all a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful weekend. Karen, stay on. I'm going to end the stream.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.